Hey, today we're in the Yakima Valley in Washington State, and we're going to be in the Rattlesnake Hills AVA, and we're going to go to VanArnam Vineyards. We're going to hang out with the winemaker. His name is Brandon, and we're going to taste some sensational wines. These are really cool stuff. This is all vineyard estate except for one that we're going to try today. This is a really cool tasting because we not only did we taste the regular tasting, but then we got invited to do a barrel tasting, and then we got invited to try some Grand Reserves as well. So this is one heck of a tasting. It's spread out. These guys are doing amazing wine. Brandon, the winemaker, is doing great stuff. You're going to have a lot of fun with this one. Come on, let's go.
The Yakima Valley American Viticultural Area is located inside the Columbia Valley AVA. The Yakima Valley AVA is the oldest AVA in Washington State. It was established in 1983. Yakima Valley includes more than 60 wineries and contains 18,580 vineyard acres, more than 1/3 of Washington's vineyards. The most widely planted grape is Chardonnay, followed by Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon. Riesling and Syrah represent the significant acreage as well. Nearly 40% of Washington State's yearly wine production is made from Yakima Valley grapes. In addition to grapes, the Yakima Valley is home to fruit orchards growing apples, cherries, nectarines, peaches, pears, and plums. Around the town of Zillah is home to nearly 80% of the U.S.'s hop production. Zillah, Washington, in the shadows of Mount Adams and Mount Rainier. They are in the Rattlesnake Hills AVA, which is a subset of the Yakima Valley AVA. VanArnam Vineyards is owned by Kent and Allison VanArnam. Their day jobs are in Ridgefield, not far from Vancouver, Washington, where they have a second tasting room at the Cellar 55 Co-op tasting facility. After purchasing the orchard property in 2007, they removed more than 6,000 pear trees one by one with their tractor, planted each and every single grapevine, and built an impressive facility that includes a tasting room, winery, catering facilities, and indoor-outdoor dining venues. They did all the work themselves, designing and building the structures, stage, and gardens. They now grow Cabernet Sauvignon, Malbec, Syrah, Merlot, and Cab Franc. Their vineyards are at a 1,000-foot elevation. VanArnam also features their tin roof grill. I settled in for my tasting and ordered a delicious salad to go along with it. First up was the Estate Reserve Chardonnay, unoaked stainless steel estate Chardonnay, bright, clean, classic pear, apple, and peach stone fruit notes on the nose. Fabulous crisp wine. Peach comes across more on the palate as well as the apples and pears. Lean and sexy, citrus notes on the end, lovely balance, nice acidity at the end. A wonderful Chardonnay, really loved it. Next was the Estate Reserve Syrah. It's a big dark glass of red wine, smoky with hints of cranberry and ripe plum. Complex, well-balanced, was one of my favorite wines of the tasting. Spectacular. I loved the Estate Reserve Malbec. Big, deep purple color, jammy, big, rich, dark fruit, cassis, dark cherry, blackberry, fig, hint of espresso, mocha. A big, lovely wine, layers of flavors, intense, very pretty. But I'm going to let these folks tell you about it themselves.
Hi, I'm Allison VanArnam, owner of VanArnam Vineyards. My husband Kent and I own the winery, and this is...
I'm Brandon, and I'm the winemaker here at VanArnam Vineyards.
Today we're here to share with you our 2017 Estate Reserve Malbec.
So this Malbec is, one that we've always really loved to make. It's really heavy in the color and the body, and the flavor is just a really bold fruit array of different dark berries really that we get off of it. But it's really a smooth wine, and it's really my favorite to make and to drink as well.
So we planted this Malbec in 2011, And we were growing kind of some of the traditional stuff for Washington State, Cab Sauv, Syrah, Merlot, and my husband and I had fallen in love with Malbec, and we're like, we're gonna branch out just a little. And Malbec loves the property here in this kind of weather, and we've had great success with it. It's our favorite grape to grow, the rich color. When you harvest it, it's the most gorgeous of all the grapes that come in. And then we bring Brandon in, and he does magic with the making of it. Maybe talk about how long it's aged and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so basically for the baseline for our wines is 24 months in oak. We have Grand Reserves actually that go as high as 40 months in oak. But this wine, it stayed in oak for just over 2 years. And we filter it, each wine specifically gets filtered to a certain coarseness based on your own personal taste. I mean, really, it's all just personal taste. So yeah, and it's a wine that we've really had high success with in terms of turnouts of people coming out just to try them all that. So we really love it. It's one of our staples.
True. Cheers.
Estate Reserve Tempranillo. This was an Estate Tempranillo, a big splash of plum, dark cherry, tobacco, coffee. Super, super impressive. Another one of my favorites, but I'm going to let these folks tell you all about it.
All right, so next up we've got the 2018 Tempranillo. This wine has gotten so much attention from all of our customers. We've pulled it out of the barrel numerous times to pour out of the tasting room, and people always ask where they can buy it. The first thing that you notice right off the bat off this wine is it's got a ton of new oak in it. So you can just smell the smokiness, the coffee. It's just a lot of really good herbaceous smells. So we use all medium plus French oak. So I mean, it's all pretty consistent oak-wise. And what that brings out are the kind of the toastier tones that are found within this Tempranillo. So you get a lot of clove, but it still isn't too much oak to where it actually still highlights some of the berry tones. So you have a lot of that overripe plum. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and try it now.
So my husband and I fell in love with Tempranillos in Spain, I think it was 12 years ago or so, kind of in the early days of starting the winery. And we've been planning to plant Tempranillo, but we wanted to get started making it before we expanded to planting it. So we buy it from a vineyard half a mile down the street, the best quality grapes you've ever seen. And we've had a great time making this Tempranillo. We just recently won a gold medal on it. Good job to Brandon. Brandon's the artist here on the Tempranillo, but it's just flying out and it's awesome.
So one thing that really, with this Tempranillo that I did special over every other wine, there wasn't actually enough production-wise to go into the press. Our press, you need a certain amount to actually get an effective press. And so all of this was hand pressed out of a bucket that had just a bunch of micro holes drilled in it, sterile fermentation bucket. And I just took, with a big glove, took scoops of this must and hand pressed it after the fermentation, and it just gave it a really rounded tannin body on it. So it's not super tannic, it's really smooth, but it does have some good dryness, which means that the longevity of it is great. I mean, it's gonna sit down for 7-10 years. So I'd love for you guys to try it.
Thanks.
Luckily, I had a companion to keep me company during my tasting. Allison and Brandon then asked me if I would like to do a barrel tasting. I wasn't going to say no. Brandon has often been described as their winemaker and the heart of their winemaking program. In the barrel tasting, you got to see his passion.
I would say probably my best vintage so far. The reason being is that it was a really good year. Get you a glass. All right, you got your glass?
I don't have my glass.
Eventually, I did find my glass, and we were able to taste the Syrah 2019, which was super impressive. It turned out Brandon was right. The fruit was so much more intense than the 2019, not taking anything away from the previous wine. This 2019 just had all this fruit-forward statement up front. It was super clean, really amazing. Can't wait to see what this tastes like in a year or two.
Thank you. So you said this is unfiltered.
This is unfiltered, and it's a 2019, so
Okay.
it's only a year old. That's the light.
Oh yeah, it's purple.
Again, Brandon was absolutely spot on. Not only was the Malbec fruit forward, but it was this deep, dark, luxurious wine. It was really incredible, and again, I cannot wait to taste this wine when it's finally available in a few years. The 2019 Tempranillo was also equally impressive. Lots of big fruit forward, already a beautiful clean wine. This 2019 was sure to impress when it's bottled. Then it was back to the tasting room to try a few more wines with my trusty companion. I tried the River Red, which is their Bordeaux blend of Malbec, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, and Merlot. A lovely, lovely drinking wine, great for burgers and barbecue, and it didn't hurt that my drinking companion was on the label. The Grand Reserve Malbec is the best of their estate Malbec. Smooth, fruity, bold, super dark ripe raspberry, blackberry, boysenberry, marionberry, with hints of coffee and floral notes. Just an amazing wine. And then, last but certainly not least, was the Grand Reserve Cabernet Sauvignon. This is estate-grown, hand-selected by the winemaker, and aged for 40 months in French oak barrels. This is their best Cabernet. It's big, complex, spicy, lots of dark berry, stewed dark fruits with dark cassis, and hints of other spices. An impressive wine you can drink now or lay down for at least 7 to 10 years. A very, very impressive end to my tasting.
Well, that was pretty cool, wasn't it? Want to say thank you to Allison and Kent, who could not have been better hosts. Want to say thank you to Brandon, who did just a fantastic job leading me around and letting me taste all their just tremendous wines. And of course, the dog was a lot of fun too. Constant companion throughout the entire tasting. They are a great place. You're going to love their wines. You got to get on out there and try their stuff. It's absolutely spectacular, and you got to check out those 2019s when they come out. Take care.
Well, that's it for this edition of the Great American Winery Stroopwaffle. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you'll come back soon. And in the meantime, drink local.